All right, Miles, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons. Look, this is a team that's building a lot of momentum kind of quietly right now. A lot of other teams are stealing a lot of the thunder as we get ready for a training camp, but I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Atlanta Falcons, maybe because there's some question marks around Desmond Ridder, but we've got a couple really outstanding reports highlighting how good Desmond Ridder will be for the Falcons. A lot of great news for Atlanta right now.
Yeah, Nick, I think the Falcons are building something special down there in Atlanta. I think Desmond Ridder is looking really good, and we're going to talk about exactly why he is so good today. But before we get into that, Falcons fans, we got an interesting question for you today. We usually like to ask, who's the best here, who's the best this, that. But today we want something a little bit different for you. Out of all of the Atlanta Falcons in all of history, who's someone you would really like to, an Atlanta Falcons player, sit down with, have dinner, have a drink with, and really just talk about football with? Who's that guy from the Atlanta Falcons you just want to sit down, talk football with? Let us know who that is in the comment section below. But Nick, let's get on into it. I am excited to talk about Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, so ESPN did a really nice piece on Desmond Ridder and the Atlanta Falcons. It's well worth the read. It's pretty long, but there's a few paragraphs we want to highlight today that I think really important and highlight exactly how good Ridder is going to be for the Falcons going to 2023. Miles, if you want to go ahead and throw up the first piece. Again, this isn't the whole article. These are just a few paragraphs. We pulled through it. So this first one is talking about Arthur Smith, talking about Ridder here. And from the report, Falcons head coach Arthur Smith said Ridder made daily improvements, although he knows Atlanta won't know Ridder's exact growth until training camp, joint practices, and preseason games where there's more contact and hitting than 7-on-7 and light 11-on-11 work with no contact. Smith liked his leadership and his anticipation. I'll get to that a little bit later, comparing it to a highly skilled point guard who can see where things develop before they do. I think he's got that, Smith said. There's a lot of things that we may ask him to anticipate or wait a tick, and not everybody can do that, but he can. He's shown that so far. That gives us a lot of hope, and every system is a little bit different too. Basically, they're really impressed by the fact that Desmond Ridder is showing anticipation on the routes. He's not underreacting. He's not overreacting. He's running the offense in an effective way. He's picking up on it very quickly because he's putting the time and the effort, and he understands the process behind the offense, Miles. And that goes into the second pick here we have. This is also from the same article. And here's something I want to highlight because it's clear Ridder putting the time and work this offseason. I think this is the most important part here. Again, from the report from ESPN.com, Ridder picks something in his game to pick at day by day. Last year, for instance, he knew he needed to know everyone's job along with his own. This year, he has to know where each person should be on each play. Last spring, he might have worried about every pass he threw. This spring, he was more concerned with the process, the emphasis we added, and whether the decision and footwork were right. All right, Miles, I think that's the most important thing for Ridder is executing the process of being a quarterback. I think that is one of the more underrated aspects, getting your footwork in the right, get your feet in the right position, having the right footwork, making the right read, making the right throw on time with anticipation. That is what elite quarterbacks do. It's not necessarily about the arm talent, and sometimes it's not even about being the most accurate. If you make the right read and throw it at the right time, a lot of things will take care of itself. I think this is a great sign for the Atlanta Falcons and Desmond Ridder. I'm curious what your thoughts are, Miles, but before I throw it over to you, I want to remind everyone to stay tuned to the end of today's video to hear a word from our partner, and that, of course, is Neuro. They've got a lot of great products to give you a fast and quick boost of energy, so make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video to learn more about Neuro, and most importantly, to get access to our special discount code. All right, Miles, I'll throw it over to you now. What are your thoughts on these comments involving Desmond Ridder?
Yeah, no, I think these comments about Ridder were really, really encouraging. If I was a Falcons fan, Nick, I would be very excited about this because I like what they said, especially going on this second paragraph or second picture that we have, talking about, instead of being worried about every single ball, maybe how it came out of his hands, how the actual pass ended up being, knowing, okay, I went through my process. This was the right decision. My feet were set right. Everything's right. That is really how you learn and grow. You can't think about the conclusion, especially during practice. That's not that important. You just have to know that the process of getting to that conclusion was correct. And it really seems like what Ridder had been doing. And there's something early in the article that also caught my eye. Just shows exactly what kind of guy he is, where it said Ridder was talking early mid-season last season, early to mid-season, where he wasn't the starter yet. Things weren't going the way that he wanted to, and he kind of just assessed everything and said, okay, it's not going the way I want it to, and I'm not giving the best results on the field, so I need to readjust, do all that thing. So he did better learning strategies. He went through a lot of things like using Quizlet and reciting plays to his wife, other things like that, to kind of help him get in a different mindset. He said, I got to switch things up. He did how he learned. He went about how he learned things differently. And then eventually he became the starter. So he talks about that a little bit as well. And it's just this shows a level of like maturity and I think growth from a young rookie quarterback. He's going into second year, but last year's rookie quarterback that I haven't seen in a while, Nick. Sometimes these guys come in, they just want to like use their elite arm talent, just throw the ball, sling it all over the field, run around with their legs. This seems like a guy who's calm, cool, collected, like you said. He can do the timing stuff. He can wait. He can speed things up. He can get through his progressions just right. He can focus on the important details. And that's why I think those are the things that make this guy special. Desmond Ridder really just seems like a more mature quarterback than we have seen out of a very young player.
And a couple final points here to hit on. One of the things when I see a piece like this, I look for other corroborating evidence in terms of the media kind of backing up the opinions of this article. Because sometimes it is one article, it's a great source, it's a great piece, but sometimes you're looking for other things to kind of confirm it because maybe it's an outlier. It's very interesting that a day after this article came out, or a few hours, I think actually, Dan Orlovsky, of course, the quarterback analyst, comes out, watched some film, he put it on Twitter. He said he talked about Desmond Ridder throwing with a great sense and understanding spacing and things like that. That falls in line with his anticipation and working on things like that. And also shortly thereafter, Grady Jarrett, of course, the great defensive lineman and phenomenal player, great team leader, great Atlanta Falcon, according to Pro Football Talk, came out and said he was very impressed with Desmond Ridder's confidence. So we're starting to see a lot of reports around the periphery kind of support that Desmond Ridder is ready to take a massive leap from his rookie year to his second year. And right now, Mize, I think Atlanta Falcons have reason to be extremely excited. All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big time game winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Mize. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.